The crystalline chambers of the Galactic Council hung suspended in the void between stars, a monument to 1,000 civilizations that had risen, conquered, and claimed their place among the cosmos. Today, those chambers trembled with anticipation as representatives from across known space gathered for what they believed would be humanity's end. Kendall stood at the observation deck of the human diplomatic vessel, her fingers pressed against the transparent aluminum view. Her reflection stared back at her sharp green eyes, auburn hair tied in a practical bun, and a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Behind her, Roman paced like a caged predator, his military dress uniform crisp despite the tension radiating from every movement. "They're going to do it," Roman muttered, running a hand through his dark hair. 200 years of diplomacy, trade, cultural exchange all about to go up in flames because we dared to expand into the outer rim. Kendall's smile widened slightly. "I know." Roman stopped pacing, studying her profile. "You don't seem concerned." "Concerned?" Kendall turned to face him, and for the first time, he saw something in her expression that made him take an involuntary step back. It wasn't fear or worry, it was anticipation. "Roman, I've been waiting for this moment since I joined the diplomatic corps 15 years ago." Before he could respond, the communication array chimed. The council had reached its decision. The holographic display materialized before them, showing the semicircular arrangement of the council's high seats. At the center sat Archon Velthor of the Kryn Ascendancy, his four eyes gleaming with what he surely thought was righteous authority. To his left, the crystalline form of Speaker Jarana pulsed with barely contained energy. On his right, the massive bulk of War Chief Gorthak represented the Vorten Horde. Humanity. Velthor's voice echoed through the chamber and across every human vessel in the sector. "You have been judged. Your expansion violates 17 accords. Your technology advances too rapidly. Your population grows unchecked. Your military might threatens the stability we have maintained for 10,000 years. Kendall crossed her arms, her expression never changing. "Therefore," Velthor continued, "the Galactic Council hereby declares a state of sanctioned warfare against the human species. You will be contained, reduced, and properly integrated into the Galactic Order. This is not genocide, this is correction." The other ambassadors erupted in approval. The Kryn hissed their agreement. The Vortens beat their massive fists against their armor. The crystalline beings chimed in. Harmonic agreement. Roman waited for Kendall to activate her microphone to deliver some impassioned plea or final diplomatic effort. Instead, she laughed, a sound so genuine and relieved that it silenced the council's celebration. "Finally," Kendall said, her voice carrying across every channel. "Finally." The council chamber fell silent. Velthor's eyes narrowed. "You mock us in your final moments." "Mock you?" Kendall's laughter faded into something colder. "No, I'm thanking you. Do you know how exhausting it's been? Playing nice, pretending we needed your approval, following your ridiculous protocols while you taxed our trade, restricted our growth, and treated us like children who needed guidance from their betters." She stepped closer to the holographic display, and Roman noticed her hand had unconsciously moved to the datapad at her side, the one containing codes he'd never been cleared to access. "For 200 years, Kendall continued, humanity has played by your rules. We've smiled at your insults, accepted your restrictions, and bowed to your authority. Do you know why?" Velthor's mandibles clicked in confusion. "Because you recognized your inferiority." "No," Kendall said softly. "Because we were buying time." She activated the data. Across human space, from Earth to the furthest colonies, a signal transmitted. Military vessels that had been disguised as cargo haulers dropped their camouflage. Defense platforms that had been labeled as communications arrays powered up weapon systems that dwarfed anything the Council had seen. Shipyards that supposedly built civilian transports opened their bays to reveal dreadnoughts. Roman's jaw dropped. "Kendall, what the Department of Strategic Planning has a say." Kendall interrupted, her eyes never leaving Velthor's shocked face. "Peace is a strategy, not a principle. We've spent 2 centuries letting you believe you were the apex predators of this galaxy. We've studied your weapons, your tactics, your biology. We've built contingencies upon contingencies. We've colonized worlds you don't even know exist and built fleets in the dark spaces between your trade routes." She pulled up a holographic display of the galaxy. Red markers began appearing, thousands of them, representing human military assets that had been hidden in plain sight. "You want to know what humanity has been doing while you debated our fate?" Kendall asked. "We've been preparing for this war, not hoping for it, preparing for it. Because we've studied history, Arcana, we know that eventually the established powers always move to crush the rising one. It's not personal, it's inevitability." War Chief Gorthak's booming voice interrupted. "You cannot defeat the combined might of the Council. We have conquered 1,000 worlds." 1,000 worlds, Kendall agreed, nodding. "Over 10,000 years. Do you know how many worlds humanity has settled in the last 2 centuries? Including the ones you don't know about." She smiled. 3,417. "And every single one is armed, supplied, and ready." Roman finally found his voice. "You've been planning this the entire time." "Not planning," Kendall corrected. "Anticipating. There's a difference. We didn't want this war, but we knew it would come. The council can't tolerate equals, only vassals or enemies. By declaring war, they've simply chosen which one will be. She turned back to the council, and her expression hardened into something that made even Roman, a decorated combat veteran, feel a chill. So thank you, Archon Velf. Thank you for freeing humanity from the burden of diplomacy. Thank you for giving us permission to stop pretending. And thank you, her voice dropped to barely above a whisper, for making the mistake of thinking that because we chose peace, we were incapable of war. Kendall reached for the communication panel one final time. This is Ambassador Kendall Chen to all human forces. Protocol Rubicon is now in effect. Show them what we've built. Show them what we've become. Show them why humanity doesn't kneel. As the transmission ended, Roman watched the holographic display fill with tactical data. Human fleets were already in motion, striking at Council's supply lines and military installations with precision that spoke of years of planning. The Council's forces scrambled to respond, but they were reacting to a war plan humanity had refined for decades. Finally, Kendall whispered again, this time just to herself. The word carried no joy, no triumph, only the grim satisfaction of someone who had carried a terrible burden and could finally set it down. The war had begun, but in many ways, it had ended before the Council even knew it existed.